I see trees of green and red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed days and the dark sacred nights. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, and also are the faces of all the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll know much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. What a wonderful world. What a wonderful, wonderful world. Ooh.
went with my baby to the hospital, but coming in the evening on that same night at around 8 p.m., then she passed away now.
Yeah, my daughter passed of malaria. And sometimes we could grieve the whole night. So when I see my wife grieving, I find myself crying. Then she found that she is pregnant with precious gift.
My courage, my joy, she has given me everything. The moment I hold gift, I hold her in my laps, and everything turns okay.
We have gone through a lot, and life has sharpened us. Now we focus on one thing, on how we can raise our children.
Between 2000 and 2025, the world did something extraordinary. We cut child deaths in half. Every year, fewer children died. 10 million became 9, 9 became 8, 7, 6, 5, but not this year. In 2025, for the first time this century, all signs point to a tragic reality. More children will die than the year before.
Thank you. 5 million kids dying was already way too many. But now with the aid cuts we're seeing, that number is going to go up for the first time in 25 years. These numbers can seem very abstract. But when I think about what's the biggest reason why to think about that beautiful rendition of It's a Wonderful World. It's a wonderful world for me because my 3 children, my grandchildren, they're healthy, they're thriving. And when I meet mothers whose children have died, it comes across in a very personal way what a great tragedy it is and how we should do everything to avoid that. As I was working on my autobiography, Source Code, earlier this year, I was reminded of how impactful my parents' values were on me. Their thoughts were pretty simple. Mostly came down to the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And over the last 25 years, we saw that in action. The world made progress for all children. We reduced the deaths faster than ever, saving tens of millions of lives. And that miracle was achieved without major sacrifice. In fact, rich countries as a group spent a bit less than 1% of their budgets to get there. But now, even that is at risk. We say that humanity is at crossroads in terms of its generosity to other humans. The good news is that if we can avoid these cuts or minimize them, we can continue to make amazing progress. And the key reason for that is because the science here is accelerating. This is a miraculous time for innovation. We have an incredible pipeline of tools coming along. And AI is greatly accelerating the pace of innovation. If we can deliver these new tools to all the children of the world, we can cut child mortality in half again, even faster than we did it before. Well, how many children are we talking about? We've looked at this, and by scaling the innovations, we would save more than 13 million additional lives over the next 20 years. So think about that. Think of one child dying, and although it's hard, multiply that by 13 million. That's what's within the world's grasp by maintaining its generosity. So is it too much to ask that these rich countries that are getting richer continue to give that 1%? This is the moment to renew our commitment and build an even stronger movement behind this cause. If we do it, it'll move us towards a future where almost every child not only survives to their 5th birthday, but they're healthy enough to achieve their full potential. We want to see malaria wards be empty, even in the middle of the rainy season. We want kids to wonder about HIV because we have a cure, so they don't see hardly anyone who's still affected by it during their lifetime. This is a future worth fighting for. Now, around the world, there are a lot of incredible people, exemplars, doing amazing things, making real sacrifice to achieve this goal. You'll hear from a number of them today: health workers, researchers, advocates, leaders. And it's my excitement over the possibilities here that drove me to announce earlier this year that I will give all of my resources away in the next 20 years. Of course, sadly, that's only a small part of the resources required. And we all have important roles to play here. Leaders with just a fraction of the budgets can continue to make a huge impact. And we have to all of us have to draw in more people to advocate, to bear witness, to accelerate progress. Will we leave the best world for our children? The answer is entirely up to us. Thank you.
When you're a parent or a grandparent, one of the best sounds in the world is your children or grandchildren. In that video you watched earlier, you saw two parents fighting so they didn't lose a second child to disease, so that they didn't go home to a silent house. They're fighting for their children the way any of us would fight for ours, and they shouldn't have to fight alone.
We're never alone, no, no. We're never alone, no, no. We're never alone, no, no. We're never alone, woo.
Good evening. I'm Olivia Wilde. It's my absolute honor to be with you tonight as the host of Goalkeepers. From a very young age, I understood that the world is not an equitable place. My parents are actually war correspondents and documentary filmmakers. And as a child, I would wander into their cutting room, which was in the basement of our house in Washington, D.C., and I would watch the footage that they were editing. I saw images of extreme inequality, of children my own age and younger, and their families struggling to meet their basic needs. My parents never shielded us from those images. They wanted us to understand the world, to ask questions and to seek out answers, to better understand some of the root causes of these inequities. Why do some children survive while others don't?
The more I explored these issues, the more I understood that these inequities don't happen on their own. There is nothing natural about the fact that one child dies from a preventable disease while another does not. They are the result of choices that we make when we choose what to prioritize and who we choose to care for. James Baldwin once wrote, "The children are always ours, every single one of them, all over the globe." If we believe that is true, and I do, then what? What decisions do we make? What do we need to do differently? We meet today at a critical moment, and those choices have never been more evident and more important. This year at Goalkeepers, we will hear stories of adversity and dedication, of triumph and loss. A clinic that almost administered life-saving vaccines until the health workers lost their jobs. An expectant mother who almost had a safe and healthy delivery until her care arrived too late. A child who almost made it to his 5th birthday. A child who almost made it to her 1st. Almost, but not quite. That is what is at stake. Now, let's hear from the people who have dedicated their lives to protecting our communities in the face of increasing obstacles.
Making a change to others, that's our mission as counselors. It was not about my professional work. It was all about being a sister, being a mother.
To help others, like what we call Ubuntu. Yeah, it's in my veins. Kongi, you really helping others because I wasn't comfortable to speak with my status until I met you.
Oh, wow, really?
That.
Oh.
So, well done, sis. We did great. For me, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy until I met you. God used you. And I now feel comfortable. So glad. I feel comfortable to share my status because of you. Don't cry, sis.
On the 6th of February, 2006, I was diagnosed of HIV. Devastated, I went straight to a popular church whose pastor was well known of praying for people with HIV and healing them. And I was prayed for. 3 months down the line, I went to get tested. But I found out that I'm still HIV positive. I went back to that pastor and told him that I was not healed. And the pastor told me to come the next Sunday so that he may pray for me again. The next Sunday I came, and in the church with a capacity of 2,000 people, 99% of them HIV positive, the pastor called me in front. And I was so happy because I knew that I would get my healing that day. When I came in front, the pastor pointed at me and looked at the congregation and said, "You see this girl? These are the people that are destroying our names for lack of faith." And then he looked at me and said, "Margaret, the Lord is telling me that you have 2 weeks to live." And then he said in Kiswahili, "Ebu toka tuonane mortuary," which means, "Get out, see you at the mortuary." I was very tired, I lacked balance. And when I looked at the faces of the people, I could see them cry. But that day I did not cry because I had cried enough. I got out of that door of the church and I determined myself and I told myself that I will not die, but I will live. On my way out, I came through a swamp that people with HIV, when they were cast, they were committing suicide on that swamp. And on my way home, as I was going, I met people on the way. Some of them were calling me, "Rotten blood is passing." Some were saying, "We are about to have a funeral," because I was so weak and I staggered up to my small home. That day I knelt down and told God that if this is my fate, God, please give me another chance. So days passed into weeks. Weeks passed into months. I had totally disconnected myself from people and from my family. One day, I had a knock on my door, and opening the door was standing a woman, slightly taller than me, wearing a green t-shirt written HIV positive. I hated that t-shirt. So that woman told me, my name is Dorolex, and I am HIV positive, and I'm a community health worker. And I saw you in the church being chased out. I want us to talk woman to woman. So I let her in, and after 5 minutes of talking, she went. But from that day, she was coming time after time. I was pissed off with her because that particular t-shirt is the one that she was coming with. So after talking, after shifting from one house to another, because I wanted to avoid her services, she could find out where I was staying and still coming to insist that I should go to hospital. So one day in my weak state, I told her, at the count of 5, I want you out of my house. She was stronger than me, and she stood up and told me, Margaret, hautakufa nikikuangalia, which means, Margaret, I will not watch you die. And that time when I looked at her eyes, I could see that she's the only friend I had, and she's the only person I could confide in. That time she told me, Margaret, I know that you are not cursed. Neither are you a dirty person, because my house was disorganized, and I did not even want to bathe. She helped me clean my house, and then she encouraged me to go and bathe. And that time I followed her to the hospital. She connected me to the Mothers to Mothers program. I saw a lot of mothers who are HIV positive like me, everybody telling her story. And from that time, I took medication. I started getting stronger. I started getting better. And now, today, 20 years down the line, I am standing in front of you. I am a proud mother of 3 HIV negative sons. And my husband is HIV negative. Now I do the same to my community. I save lives just like my life was saved. Now this is the power of the community health worker. We do not only give medicine to the community, but we offer psychosocial support so that we may have a healthy community which is mentally and physically stable. We save lives as community health workers. Thank you for listening to my story.
No? Okay. Good evening. It is a joy to be with you here at Goalkeepers. I have spent my life in conversation about what it means to be human and who we will be to each other in this tender and tumultuous century. Today, a sense of scarcity and insufficiency threaten to cut us off from one another. And in such conditions, we barely feel able to care for ourselves, much less for our neighbors. But the great spiritual traditions have always reminded humanity that precisely when our instincts tell us to turn inward, we can be called to something life-giving, to extend compassion, to act with conscience, to lift one another up. Tonight, we are going to ground ourselves in this truth with 2 extraordinary faith leaders. How to summon responsibility and act together to protect our children in a fractured world,
transcending politics, borders, and traditions. Please join me in welcoming the Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, and Pastor Rick Warren. Your Highness, I'd like to start with you. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Nigeria. How do you have a cheering squad here from Nigeria, I think. How do your deep roots in faith and tradition, guide you to respond when children's lives are at risk?
Well, the first thing I'll say is the question of children's lives transcends a specific religious tradition. I imagine in every culture, in every religion that is ethically grounded, part of the definition of ourself is the nature of attachment to things outside of us. And the idea of compassion, the idea of feeling pain at the misfortune that befalls a human being that's not brought upon himself is something that is universal. Yeah. Now, in the religion of Islam, human life is sacred, all human life. The Quran says, he who takes a human life without cause is like one who takes the life of entire humanity. And he who saves one human life is like one who saves entire humanity. Yeah. Now, given that perspective, and given the fact that all human life is equal, the fact that children are exposed to death, children are exposed to hunger, children are exposed to malnutrition, children are exposed to ill health, is something that should concern us as human beings. The second thing is, of course, the responsibility of leadership. Leadership in Islam has responsibilities, and you know you're going to be asked on the day of judgment for the welfare and the well-being of your people, and the children are the greatest trust. The second caliph of Islam, Omar, once said that if a goat were to be lost on the banks of the Euphrates, I'll be asked about that on the day of judgment. So imagine when you're dealing with the lives of children, and these are the greatest trust placed in our hands. So from that perspective, the saving the lives of children is perhaps the greatest priority of any leader, because children, women, and other vulnerable people are there to be protected by those in power.
Thank you. Pastor Rick, you've often spoke about that faith is centrally a call to service. And I wonder how you're thinking now about what moral leadership is in a time like this of crisis, what it calls us to, especially when children's lives are on the line.
Well, first I want to say thank you to everybody who came. As Bill talked about, we are in a moral crisis. It's a humanitarian crisis of the death of 5 million children unnecessarily this year. Showing up means you said it mattered. So thank you. As the Emir pointed out, 80% of all the world is one of 5 religions: Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, Jewish, or Christianity. Every one of them say the same thing: we have a moral responsibility to our children. In my faith, Jesus said, children are the kingdom of God. They are the kingdom of God. He also said, anybody who doesn't protect children from their abuse will be judged. Now, I would take that to mean, I read into that, if I don't do anything about somebody else abusing children, then I'm responsible too. But let me just say this, whether you've got any faith or not, if you're a mom or your dad, I lost a child. I lost a child to mental illness. I've never recovered from that pain. I can't imagine 5 million moms and 5 million dads grieving over their child this year who should not have died.
Yeah.
That's a moral imperative.
What do you believe, or I want to ask you this way, what do you know about why Americans should care about the lives of children who seem very far away?
Well, I'll go back. Bill said it, I'll say it. We would all say this. As a father and as a grandparent, I know what grief it would cause to lose a child. And there's a moral imperative there. But there's another issue. Jesus said, to whom much is given, much is required. That's us, folks. It's hard to beat America for to whom much has been given. We are held to a greater degree of responsibility. And if we don't do anything, we are losing it. To whom much has been given, much is required.
Your Highness, African nations have shown a great deal of resilience and solidarity in coming together during times of crisis. And I wonder, from your perspective, in Nigeria, what can the rest of the world, especially high-income nations, learn from that spirit about extending compassion and action across borders?
Well, African nations have shown resilience not in abundance, but in scarcity. In general, when you have a lack, when you have poverty, communities come together. If there's no food in the house, neighbors feed that family. In 2017, when we talk about children, I had what, for me, was the most traumatic experience. When I sit in court, generally some people come around, they're asking for help. And on this day, I heard a loud scream. It turned out that a woman who was waiting in line to ask me for help came with her child from the Children's Hospital across, and that child died in her arms. And what was she looking for? Something that was the equivalent of $5 to buy drugs. Okay. Now, when you live in that environment where a woman's child can die because she does not have $5, the only way that society survives is that those who have come to the help of those who do not, because that child could be anyone's child. It could have been my child. And I think what the world needs to learn is that human beings as a whole are one community. We may all think that we're wealthy because of our intelligence. We may think because, well, okay, fine, you're American, but you were born in America. What did you have to do with being born in America? There was a divine plan for it and a test. And God loves all his children. He does not give some wealth because he loves them better than those he does not give. He gives you wealth as a test. That test is, what do you do with it? What is your gratitude for that opulence? What is your gratitude for that wealth? And the only way to show gratitude is to give those whom he has not given, and to show love to those whom he loves. He's tested you with that. I think what we need to learn, or what the world can learn, is that if we think of human beings as one large community, then this distribution of wealth is done for a reason. And that purpose is for those who have been given to show gratitude by assisting those who have not, and for those who have not to show perseverance and to thank God for their condition. This is, I think, what is missing.
Pastor Rick, I wonder if you'd say just something you have learned, because you have been working also in a deep, long-term collaboration across boundaries within Christianity, across nations, and also across these sectors of faith and the public, what we call public-private partnership. The time is so short, but just share something you've learned about what makes collaboration that might seem impossible actually possible and meaningful.
Well, the bottom line on this, Krista, is what none of us can do by ourselves, all of us can do together. Now, we are talking about a trend that's going the wrong way. Bill talked about that. Trends don't change themselves, but teams do. When you get enough people. Some problems are so big, you have to team tackle them. And it's not, no single organization, no single nation. There are actually three sectors of society. There's the public sector, sets policy. There's the private sector, that do all kinds of things, including management, capitalization. There's the faith sector that we're a part of. One of the things that we can all bring to the table, one of the things, as I said, there are 80% of the world. Together, those three legs of the stool create a stool that won't fall over. The partnership that we've been building, I've been working in 197 nations for the last 20 years through a thing called the Peace Plan. And the Peace Plan is 5 things. Promote reconciliation where there's conflict, equip ethical leaders where there's corruption, assist the poor where there's poverty, care for the sick where there's diseases, and educate the next generation where there's illiteracy. And we've put together public, private, and faith sectors partnerships in these countries where governments and businesses and houses of worship are working together. I could tell you a million stories. We don't have time to do that. But the bottom line is this: we're better together. Nobody can do this by themselves. Churches can't do it by themselves. Government can't do it by themselves. We have proven nobody can do it by themselves. The only way this is going to happen is in massive collaboration between all three sectors of society.
I wonder what call to action you would like to leave this room with of leaders, advocates, global citizens. One thing to take people away. Let me Rick, and let's let the Highness have the last word.
Sure. Advocacy is a good thing, but advocacy is not enough. Simply giving, voting, or protesting, that's not enough. You got to do it. 26,869 of my members have gone overseas to help the poor, the sick, the uneducated, to help in these crisis areas. They put skin in the game. You can go anywhere in the world in 24 hours. If you don't believe it, ask a travel agent. And on top of that, you can sit in your pajamas in your bedroom and talk to anybody in the world. And so you are now a world-class citizen. And I would say, don't just pray, don't just give, don't just vote. Do. I'll help you do it if you want to.
All right. Your Highness, your call to action.
Well, I'll say two things. First of all, I think we do need the courage to call a spade a spade. And we need to call our governments to order, and we need to say that what is happening is morally wrong. The world has been down a path which has shown positive results. We cannot let a small group of people turn us back.
Great.
Okay, and I think it's important. And the only way they will succeed is if everyone else keeps quiet. The second thing I will say is that you need to go to the front line. These children live in villages, they live in wards, they live in remote areas. A solution that can be found at the distance of a conversation does not need a solution from across continents. We need to go there, go to the front line, go to the communities, understand the problems and deal with them. If we do those two things, I think we'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you so much for bringing your wisdom here tonight.
If there's one thing that I think every faith can agree on, it's this. As human beings, caring for children is our highest calling. We know what we must do. Now let's talk about what we can do. Science is advancing at an astonishing pace. Technology like AI has changed the way we work and communicate almost overnight. But the investigator my parents raised has some questions. How can we apply those innovations to this work? Can we prioritize progress in health equity with the same speed, the same scale? How can we harness these scientific advances to make sure that they can address the challenges of the world's children, no matter where they live?
Hi, everyone. My name is Latif Nasser. I'm a science journalist. And last month, my son turned 5. Yeah, he wanted me to tell you all that he had a puppet-themed birthday party. And not once on that day did I think, wow, I can't believe he's survived 5 years on this earth. Thought did not even cross my mind. But as you all know, that is not true for everybody. In 2024, the world lost 4.6 million children. That's like the entire population of Los Angeles, and then add 1 million more people. Way too many kids are still dying from things like whooping cough, diarrhea. It's unnecessary, it's unfair, and it's unstoppable. Sorry, did I say unstoppable? I meant it's stoppable. It's extremely stoppable. And as you're about to see, it's more stoppable than it's ever been before. Okay, so this part is actually a little bit awkward because we just met, but congratulations. We are all gonna have a baby together. I'm so happy for us. It's a girl, by the way. Yeah, give yourself some round of applause. Okay, we are gonna follow her from in utero to age 5. Why 5? Because that's when her chances of survival increase dramatically. Also, to give her the best shot at a long, healthy life, it's crucial that those first 5 years go well. Along our journey, we are going to meet all kinds of experts who are going to show us tools that can help our child and every child survive and thrive. If we are going to protect our little girl, we have to start before she's even born, because nearly half the children we lost last year died from infections that happened during or just after pregnancy. So how can we prevent those kinds of infections? To help us answer, we have a renowned scientist studying maternal and infant health from the Kenyan Medical Research Institute. Please welcome Dr. Hellen Barsosio. Thanks for being here, Hellen.
Hi, Latif.
Okay, so where are we right now?
So we are in Soklo Dispensary. It's a small dispensary in Fangano Island, Homa Bay County in Kenya. So right at the shores of Lake Victoria. Okay,
and how did you get into this line of work?
So I love moms and babies, and it really starts with my grandmother. And her journey started in an antenatal clinic. And that's where our story began. My grandmother is what you'd call an explorer medicine woman. Okay. She went and searched for new herbs. She was a great healer, but she wasn't quite able to heal herself. Huh. She had 8 pregnancy losses. Oof. It was a series of miscarriages, stillbirths, and her babies didn't survive beyond the first month of life until the magic of modern medicine happened. And that's the first time she went to antenatal clinic when she conceived my dad. Oh, wow. And for that reason, my dad survived. I am following in the footsteps of the great medicine men and women from my family line and the explorer medicine men and women. So I'm a clinical researcher. I look for new drugs and new vaccines that will ensure babies are born healthy and strong and they stay healthy and strong.
Oh, wow, that's so beautiful. You're like the, yeah. You're like the modern version of your grandmother. So how do we prevent these earliest child deaths?
Magic of modern medicine. Yeah. We now have vaccines that we can give mothers during pregnancy. The thing about adults is our immune systems are quite mature, so vaccines can safely trigger an immune response. When I sit in clinic and talk to my patients, for instance, at Keynote, I'll tell her, we'll give you these vaccines. These antibodies are like soldiers, small soldiers that can fight infections. She'll safely pass it on to her baby during pregnancy. So when babies are born with these ready-made soldiers, they're ready for battle against these infectious diseases.
Yeah, the little antibodies. How new is this science we're talking about?
So this isn't a new science per se. So for more than 40 years, for instance, in a setting in, for instance, in Kenya, we've been giving maternal tetanus vaccine, and we've been giving vaccines to prevent whooping cough and tetanus for more than 40 years. And they've been so effective that I learned about neonatal tetanus in medical school. And my professor is here, Prof. Fred Were, somewhere in the crowd.
Hi.
And he described this lockjaw disease.
Yeah.
Never seen it in my practice. We've nearly wiped it out.
Lockjaw, tetanus.
Exactly. So vaccines have been super effective in protecting babies in the earliest months of their life, just before, way before they have the mechanism to protect themselves.
Right. And how do, I mean, we're talking about the most vulnerable people in our societies,
yes.
Pregnant women, very young babies.
Yes.
How are we sure that these vaccines are safe for them?
That's a really good question, Latif, especially now. Before vaccines reach our pregnant moms, they go through lots of checks and balances. You have safety experts that look at it during clinical trials. Even after they're licensed for use, the same safety experts, we call them regulators, continue to monitor for any signals. And if anything bad signal is seen, they'll pull it out. So we are very sure that our mothers and babies are safe.
So it's an old technology, but what new vaccines are in the pipeline that you're excited about?
So this is the most exciting part.
Okay.
The field is opening up.
Yeah.
And right around the corner, we have maternal RSV vaccine. Most of you may have heard about RSV from social media.
Right.
It's the leading cause of viral pneumonia in children under the age of 6 months,
Right.
and also the leading cause of hospitalizations.
Yeah.
It's a lot more common where I come from in low and middle income countries. We're talking about 100,000 deaths.
Oh, wow.
If you actually
Every year?
translate that every year.
Wow.
So if you actually translate that, it means families have to bury 100,000 children. And for hospitalizations, we're talking about 1.4 million.
Wow.
So which means mothers have to leave everything, sometimes for more than a week, to care for sick babies. However,
Yeah.
we do have a licensed vaccine, the maternal RSV vaccine.
Great.
We give it to pregnant moms. It's been used in high-income countries for nearly 2 years. Our countries have not been able to afford it yet, but Gavi, the organization that makes vaccine affordable to countries like ours, has approved it. So very soon,
Great.
places like Soklo Dispensary will be able to have maternal RSV vaccines.
That's terrific.
Yes.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Is there anything else in the pipeline that you're excited about?
Good field right now.
Okay.
So there's one bacteria group B streptococcus, just let's call it GBS.
GBS.
Let's just call it GBS.
Okay.
So it colonizes the mom during pregnancy. No symptoms at all. So it's more silent. It's passed on to the baby.
Yeah.
But what I really dislike about this GBS
Yeah.
is that it causes stillbirths. So babies don't even have a fighting chance before they come out.
Right.
And when they do get infected in the first week of life,
Yeah.
it causes blood infections and results in death.
Right.
And if they survive that, it does cause neurodevelopment damage. And up to 40,000 stillbirths are associated with GBS, up to more than 90,000 deaths. So the numbers are quite staggering, but there are vaccines in late clinical development. So in the next 5 to 10 years,
Oh, wow.
fingers crossed,
Yeah.
5 to 10 years, we will have these vaccines available in the remotest, hardest to reach places.
Wow. Amazing.
Amazing.
Wow. So this event is about, we can't stop at almost. Who will you not stop at almost for?
When I first talked about my grandmother, and it's something that's quite emotional for me. I loved her, vivacious, vibrant woman. Her story is not unique. We see mothers lose their children before they even have a chance to hold them. We won't stop at almost because there are many more women like her who deserve the gift of a healthy baby who stays healthy. And we won't stop at almost when I described Soklo Dispensary.
Right.
So to get there, I get a water bus from somewhere in the shores. It's about an hour. Then I hop on a motorbike up a very steep hill to Soklo Dispensary. It's quite fun. I've fallen off that motorbike a few times. And I want to see women like Atieno very far off being able to receive the same vaccines as women in high-income countries.
Wow. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for the work you do. Dr. Hellen Barsosio, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, great. So we've got all our daughter's vaccines. She isn't even born yet, but she's being protected. But What about the birth? How do we keep both mother and baby safe throughout labor? Those questions are what drives our next expert. She's from Nigeria, where maternal and infant health mortality rates are among the highest in the world. Please welcome obstetrician and gynecologist, Dr. Opeyemi Akinajo.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so and where are we right now?
Okay, we're in labor ward, Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Nigeria.
Okay, great. And how many babies would you say that you have delivered in that exact labor ward?
I can't remember.
But like ballpark, like you can ballpark.
Latif, I've lost count.
Okay, all right. Okay. Can you at least tell me about the first one? Tell me about the first one you remember.
Okay, that was when I was a medical student several years ago.
Okay.
I remember we were taught to observe a woman in labor, and I remember that this labor was a gory and a painful one.
Gory, wow.
Not just for the woman, but for me as well. I remember how she was able to forget the whole pain. Immediately she sighted her baby for the first time.
Oh my God, same thing happened to my wife, but yeah.
It was as if she never experienced any form of pain at all. You know, she was just shedding tears of joy, blessing her baby, thanking everyone excitedly.
Right.
That was an emotional moment for the woman and for me.
Huh.
You know, because it's a good thing for a woman to have that chance or that moment with her baby, and being able to walk through the entire journey of pregnancy with a woman to delivery and see her go home with her baby is deeply fulfilling.
Right.
And this is what has kept me going throughout a tougher moment.
Wow. So, okay, so tell me, how do doctors and nurses on your labor ward approach, a labor?
Okay, so we approach this process by going through the birth plan of every woman who presents in labor.
Right.
And often we successfully follow that birth plan through.
Sure.
However, in some instances we have emergencies, and when they occur, they really occur too quickly that we may have to change that plan and make an immediate decision on how best to manage that situation. This is universal. So the quality of care that we give to both mother and the baby should also be universal.
Right.
However, it is not yet.
So, and what are the things that are preventing that universal quality of care? What are the differences that you're experiencing?
Okay, so the doctors and the nurses in higher income countries, they have access to technologies that can help them continuously monitor women in labor as well as their babies. And this makes them too hard to make decisions on when they want to intervene. However, these technologies are often too expensive for low and middle income countries, and they can be too burdensome as well, limiting a woman to be able to move around during labor, and this can make the experience, really difficult for them.
Right. My wife was moving all around when it was You don't want to be chained to a machine,
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So what do you do? What's the way forward?
Okay. So we have a new solution.
Yeah.
And this is in form of a system, an affordable one, of sensors that facilitates close monitoring of mom and babies in labor. And these solutions, the sensors are AI-enabled.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that will help the doctors and the nurses to have right information at the right time and make them determine how to care for both, which is critical, because if the mom is not doing well, there's a higher chance the baby will not do well as well. And we need to remember that we have two patients. We need to treat them as one. And the system actually helps us to do that.
Right. Okay, great. So can you show me how does it work?
Absolutely, yes. This system comes in two parts. We have one for the mom and one for the baby.
Great.
Unfortunately, I don't have a pregnant woman here. Latif.
Oh, I'm the pregnant woman.
Okay,
I'm
good.
Please.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
String me up here.
Okay, so let's start. This is what we call the chest sensor.
Okay.
Now, the sensor, I'm going to attach it to the chest.
Okay.
That is the sternum. just like this. I'm not going to hold it for you.
Okay, okay, great, great.
And this will keep monitoring
Yeah.
the woman. It will give information on the heart rate, respiratory rate, and more.
Yeah.
Then, and attach what we call the limb sensor.
Yeah.
This will give information on the pulse rate and then the oxygen saturation.
Okay.
Then I'll check our blood pressure and the core temperature.
You're measuring a lot of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How these are imputed into the system. And the system will automatically generate what we call modified early obstetric warning score. Now this score is like a form of assessment to know the well-being of the mom. And if the score were to be above a certain threshold, then the nurse would have to escalate that situation.
So you don't want a high score in this situation. Okay,
yes.
all right.
If not, then
Yeah.
we have to review her back in a few hours and see how well she's doing.
Yeah.
That's for the mom.
Got
Now
it.
the babe too has a sensor. We call it fetal sensor.
Okay.
This monitors the
give me
fetal.
that.
No, don't worry.
No, okay, all right.
This monitors the fetal heart rate
Yeah.
continuously.
Yeah.
The next version of the system will be able to have a score that is similar to that of the mom's, to assess the well-being of the baby as well. Now, if you want to know more about the baby, the system allows us to conduct a quick ultrasound using this probe.
Wow.
You can check the lie of the baby, the position, the placenta location,
Wow.
and more. And this is how the system works continuously throughout the period of labor, monitoring both mom and baby.
And all of this, the ultrasound, all of this information on mom and baby, it's all going into the same thing.
Exactly.
And and the AI turns that into a score for you.
Exactly.
Simple.
That is how it works, yes.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that's great. It's amazing.
Yeah.
This seems really, and especially also that being continuous, so you don't have to, that seems amazing. That seems,
Right.
How do you feel about it?
Excited about it.
Yeah?
Right. Okay.
What is that, and how do you, what?
Okay, so this is what we use presently. We call it Patograph.
Yeah.
We use that to manually, all this information, we manually impute them on days.
Right.
It could take several hours,
Yeah.
during labor.
Yeah.
Now, this system, on the other hand, does the same thing.
Right.
Now, all this information are transferred wirelessly into the splitlet, and this will help you to view the trend over time. Now, this patograph is also digitized into the system, making the work much, much easier.
Yeah.
Additionally, it has an alarm system that can alert the whole team if there's any abnormality with the baby or the mom, and this will facilitate timely, accurate decision on the best intervention that will lead to a better outcome, Additionally as well, it has the capacity to monitor, let's say you have 20, 30 patients on the floor, it can monitor all of them on a single interface.
Wow.
That is how it has made the work so easy.
Wow, cool, wow. Amazing. So you've gone from that and having to go manually fill it in the room every time for every patient to constant monitoring for 40 people at a time.
You got it.
Amazing. That is groundbreaking. That is going to save so many lives. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Was it just me, or was that the quickest, easiest birth ever, right? We actually asked the actor who plays Rafiki in The Lion King to come and, announce the arrival. But apparently Broadway actors don't work Mondays. In any case, our little girl has now entered the circle of life. How do we give her the healthiest and best start? Those first few months, we're figuring a lot of things out, right? How to sleep longer than 2 hours at a time, what exactly tummy time is, whether that was a smile or just gas, and all of that is for the baby, by the way. Anyway, there's also a very important schedule we need to follow, which is our baby's routine vaccination schedule. The best, most common way to do that is through primary health care. I'm honored to be joined by a leader who understands the importance of both vaccinations and primary health care, Indonesian Minister of Health, Budi Gunadi Sadikin. Oh, over here, yeah. Minister Budi is something of an unlikely public health hero, but he's a hero nonetheless. He was actually working as a finance minister when COVID-19 hit, and the prime minister tapped him to serve as the minister of health. Mr. Budi, can I ask you a question?
Yes, Latif.
I know you're a father. I also had a new child about 30 seconds ago. How has being a dad shaped how you see your job?
As a dad, I would like to see my 3 kids never got sick, stay healthy, and pray for me. But as a Minister of Health, I would like to see 280 million Indonesian people never got sick, stay healthy, and pray for me and my wife who's sitting there.
Great.
Watching you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Minister, take it away.
In 1964, the year I was born, 1 in 7 Indonesian babies never made it to their first birthday. Thanks to childhood vaccines like smallpox that I received, I was fortunate to survive, grow up, study physics in university, build a 30-year career in banking, and eventually become the Indonesia Minister of Health. In 2020, at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, I never imagined that the president would appoint me as the Indonesia first Minister of Health without a medical background. He gave me 2 tasks. First is to roll out COVID-19 vaccine as quickly as possible, and second, to carry out the largest reform in our health system history. In the less than 2 years, we delivered around 450 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines, protecting 280 million Indonesians. When the pandemic subsided in 2022, I turned to the second task. I realized that my responsibility was not only to steer us through the crisis, but to build a national health system strong enough to protect every child, every family, every citizen long after the crisis ended. Every year, thousands of Indonesian mothers and children die from cervical cancer, pneumonia, and diarrhea. That is why, right after the pandemic, in 2022, we added HPV, PCV, and rotavirus to our national immunization programs. As health minister, I visited around 30 remote islands of Indonesia. We have 7,000 inhabited islands. And I've seen how childbirth often means life or death. Without access to ultrasound, many mothers are unaware of their pregnancy. Complications go undetected. Referrals are delayed, and lives are lost. We only have 2,200 ultrasound at 10,000 primary healthcare units that deliver 4.8 million babies every year. You know, I need to train the doctors and distribute this ultrasound in 2 years. I also noticed that people with chronic diseases such as kidney, stroke, heart disease, and cancer reach the hospital when the condition is at the late stage, when treatment is limited and costly. Hence, in February 2025 this year, we launched our most ambitious primary healthcare program ever, the annual free health screening for 280 million Indonesians. Our dream is to detect these conditions early and begin treatment promptly. To date, it reached already more than 30 million people, and we aim to reach 50 million by the end of this year. That is why investing in primary healthcare is so critical. Not only does it cost less, but it also gives people a better chance at longer quality lives. I cannot let 20,000 babies die every year, nor I cannot let 90,000 Indonesian children die every year. Indonesia believes that health system, both national and global, cannot be secured by one hand alone, but a chorus of hands join together to lift the sick, the weary, and the forgotten. It is the weaving of many strengths into one fabric of compassion, where nations do not compete for victory, but cooperate for dignity, not to conquer each other, but to conquer diseases, not to claim glory, but to safeguard life. 61 years ago, I survived while millions of other babies did not. Today, infant mortality in Indonesia has fallen by almost 90%. Thank you. But I will assure you that almost is never enough. Let us ensure that survival is no longer left to chance, but a promise that every child deserves a healthy start, a strong foundation, and a chance to thrive. Thank you.
Can you hear the sound?
Come on. Now, our little girl is healthy. She's fully immunized. We're regularly taking her to the pediatrician, whom she calls Dr. Lollipop. But to make sure that she makes it to age 5, there's something else we need to protect her from: malaria. Despite incredible progress, more than 400,000 children still die from malaria annually. That's approximately a Panama City of kids. In countries like Uganda, malaria is endemic. It's the #1 killer of children under 5. How do we put an end to that? With me here is Ugandan entomologist Krystal Birungi. So Krystal, you decided you wanted to work on malaria at a very young age. Tell me that story.
Well, I remember when I was 10 years old, and I was watching my mother sponge off my 5-year-old brother. She was trying to keep him cool. He was convulsing because he had malaria. Now, there was medication for the disease. There were mosquito nets to prevent it, but we just could not afford it. And so, we fell sick over and over again. And I remember times when I was so sick that I hoped to die, just so the pain would stop. And yet, those were not the worst times. The scariest moments were watching my little brother struggle and knowing that all we could do was pray. And yet, we were the lucky ones because all 3 of us children survived.
Right.
That is not as common as you'd think in families like mine.
How long did that fear last your entire childhood?
Thankfully, no, because when I was 14 years old, the Global Fund came to Uganda and they funded free mosquito nets, free malaria medication, and perhaps most importantly for families like mine, they funded the village health teams. These were people based in our communities that were trained to diagnose and treat malaria. So finally, being poor and getting malaria did not mean that you had to die. Unfortunately, this is still not the case for many families in Uganda. And some people today still determine how many children to have based on the assumption that some of them will die from malaria.
Right.
I still work in some communities like this, and there's been a period where over 3 weeks, we lost 2 children, and the heartbreak was unimaginable. Oof. I could tell you malaria stories from Uganda all day, and you would cry all day. And even as a 10-year-old, I knew this was not right, it was not okay, and it was not fair. And so I joined the fight against malaria.
Amazing. So tell me, so you and scientists like you have developed an armory of tools to fight malaria. Can you tell me about some of them?
Yeah, sure. Here we have actually some of the common tools that we use to fight malaria. There's the insecticide-treated net,
of course,
as well as insecticides. And these are sprayed in homes to repel and kill mosquitoes.
Right.
Unfortunately, some mosquitoes are now surviving, and their offspring are also resistant. And so scientists have also been trying to adapt to this and have developed some new tools like dual insecticide-treated nets.
Right.
These are mosquito nets that have more than one insecticide to reduce the chances of the mosquitoes in an area being resistant to both.
Got it.
We've also,
if one doesn't get them, the other one will get them.
Exactly.
Right.
We have also got a new spatial repellent from SC Johnson. So this tool hangs on a wall and repels mosquitoes. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I feel like I've been hearing about a malaria vaccine for so long. What's the status of that?
Yes, after decades of work, we are finally rolling out a malaria vaccine, which is fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right.
Because this means we can reduce the number of deaths from malaria, and as well as severe malaria cases. So a child that is immunized from malaria, even if they got malaria, would have more time to treat them, unlike without the vaccine, where a baby could go from first symptom to death in a matter of 2 days.
Wow.
Yes, so the truth is it's amazing.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so we have bed nets, we have insecticides, we have a vaccine. Is that, like, that'll cover it? That'll do the job?
Well, together these tools will greatly reduce severe malaria cases and malaria deaths. Unfortunately, they cannot eliminate malaria because the mosquito will continue to evolve. And the parasite, the malaria parasite, will continue to evolve against the medication. We are in a race against resistance.
Right.
Yeah.
So what can Team Human do? What's our like knockout move?
We can win the race.
Okay.
If we can find a way to reduce the number of mosquitoes that are spreading malaria or prevent them from transmitting the disease from one person to another.
Okay.
In fact, follow me to my lab at the Uganda Virus Research Institute.
Okay, all right.
Come on. All right, so we start in the lab.
Okay.
And a number of African scientists have been looking at ways to reduce the fertility of the mosquitoes that spread malaria in a bid to combat this. So we can do it with the latest science, and we start in the laboratory by sexing mosquitoes.
Sorry, what? Sexing?
Yes, we separate the male and female mosquitoes because only female mosquitoes bite and spread malaria, and only female mosquitoes lay eggs.
Right.
So if we can reduce the number of eggs that are being laid by a female mosquito to very few or none at all, then we can interrupt malaria transmission.
Yeah.
The challenge we have there, though, is that genes are only passed down 50% of the time.
Okay.
So we need to do more if we're going to be successful.
All right.
And that is what led us to explore gene drive.
Gene drive. What's gene drive?
Gene drive. So gene drive is a technology that changes that to 99% to 100%. So instead of only being inherited 50% of the time, our change can be inherited up to 100% of the time. Yeah, and scientists all over the world are refining that process, and African scientists in particular are looking at ways to harness that technology to help us eliminate malaria. We are looking at working with local governments, local authorities, and local communities to have experimental releases of this technology by 2030. And within a decade after that, we could significantly reduce malaria transmission and even eliminate malaria in some of the most affected communities.
That's amazing.
I mean,
that's great.
That is the kind of progress that I dreamt about as a child.
And so you have a kid of your own now?
I do. Yes, I have a son.
How old is your son?
He is 6 years old. And last year, when he turned 5, it was a monumental moment for me because I know the statistics, I know the numbers. I know that in Uganda, 1 in every 25 children doesn't make it to the age of 5, and most of them die from malaria. And that is a very stressful thing to know as a mother because that could be my child.
Right.
So on his birthday, I looked at my son and I thought, he's 5 years old, he's alive, and he will probably stay alive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Most important question I have to ask you. Did your son have a 5th birthday party, and what was his theme of his birthday party?
I did, the theme was Paw Patrol. He was obsessed with Marshall.
Yeah, of
We've
course.
since moved on to Sonic, but
Okay.
yes, he had a great time.
Okay, please everybody, thank you. Thanks, Krystal, Birungi, thank you. It's simple. All children should be able to choose the theme for their 5th birthday party. Right? And soon, if we do our part, they will be able to. We have the experts. We have the tools. We have the knowledge. It's not going to happen by accident. The progress of the last 20 years didn't happen by accident. The progress of the next 20 years won't happen that way either. But we can do it. Our names can appear in our grandkids' textbooks next to a monumental achievement, the end to preventable child deaths. How incredible is that? How lucky are we that we get to be alive at a time when that's even in the realm of possibility? I can't think of a better way to spend our time on Earth, a better thing for all of us to do together than to give all children everywhere the chance to turn 5. Now, to celebrate our little girl's big milestone, we've somehow managed to book what might be the greatest 5th-year birthday party musical performance ever, John Batiste.
Welcome to today's live. How are you doing? Today's topic is conspiracy. At the age of 23, I had never sat down and self-disclosed to myself that I'm living with HIV. So I said, let me try and write it. I received over 1,000 emails that day. Now we started calling my lived experience advocacy. Do I get sad? Yes, I am a human being. Sadness is part of human beings' emotions, but it has nothing to do with my HIV status. There is no day I can tell you that I have sat down and felt sad because I'm living with HIV. And I just take my pill and move on with my life. I am not surviving, I am thriving with this thing. So.
Ever since I was a little girl, I have been awestruck by the power of medicine. I've always wanted to understand how something so small, a pill in the morning, a vaccination in the arm, can save a life or change its course. Imagine what this world would look like if we extended that magic to millions. If every child in the world had access to those simple life-saving tools. I hope that one day children everywhere will be able to ask their parents, what is malaria? What's HIV? The same way kids today ask, what is polio? What's smallpox? Because the world they inherit will no longer be shaped by those diseases. Every year at Goalkeepers, we honor the leaders who are making that world a reality. Leaders who tackle the world's biggest challenges and never stop at almost. They play a crucial part in ensuring a better future is in sight, living proof that progress is possible.
It's great to hear about some of the amazing innovations and the great work going out in the field to solve big challenges. But of course, the delivery of these innovations to everybody who needs them will depend on generosity. Without funding, even the most incredible innovations won't reach all the people who need them. But this is a tough time for that. Many countries who've been very dependable in terms of generosity and aid, and global health aid in particular, are cutting back. Fortunately, at least one country is setting a different example. This is a story of a country stepping up, not just for their own people, but for all of humanity. And that's in large part because the president of its government, Pedro Sanchez of Spain, back in 2019, here at Goalkeepers, he took the stage and announced that Spain would return to the donor community, ready to contribute to the Global Fund after 10 years away. He said then, "You can depend on Spain." And over the last 6 years, his actions have matched those words. Spain's funding for global challenges, including global health, has increased. And there's a commitment to go even further, getting all the way to 0.7% of GDP by 2030. Since 2021, Spain has more than doubled its contributions to Gavi, providing millions of children with life-saving vaccines. He's also raised Spain's contribution to the Global Fund with steady growth at every replenishment. That commitment will help generations to come. And he's defended global collaboration and multilateralism, making sure all countries have a seat at the table when decisions are made. It's fair to say that under his leadership, we've seen Spain become one of the most engaged donor countries in the world. Prime Minister Sanchez, your actions are saving and improving lives, both in Spain and around the world. It's a great honor to present you with the Global Goalkeeper Award for 2025.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Alessandra Galloni. I'm editor-in-chief of Reuters, and it's a pleasure to be here with the both of you this evening for a conversation that is before this audience, but that will also be live streamed to Reuters' global audience. So, congratulations.
I'm so excited. Thank you very much.
Yes, you were very excited backstage too, I must say. So, let me dive right in. Under your leadership, Spain has kept funding global health when others have pulled back. And this has come amid pressure to spend money for other areas, for example, military or shoring up European defense against Russia. How have you managed to keep the spending for public health and development?
Well, of course, there's a conviction behind this political decision, but also, I would say, commitment and pragmatism. You know, we have a short memory, but 5 years ago we suffered a pandemic. Spain was quite touched because of this pandemic, and we realize how important it is to enable cooperation and increase our support for global institutions that are focused on health issues. So, you know, I think that there's not only a political decision taken from the government, but it is also a social support from Spaniards when it comes to cooperate with third countries, especially in North Africa and the southern flank of Europe, the Mediterranean, North Africa, and the Middle East, in order to, to increase and strengthen this global health architecture and policies.
Even against pressure, including from the government of the United States.
Well, the point here is that when you talk about security, security is also a matter of how do we face climate change, not only mitigation policies but also adaptation policies. And of course, if we want to speak about security, also what matters is global health in Africa, in Europe, and across the world. So that is why I think that there's a wrong message coming from the Western countries, which is, well, we're going to increase our defense expenditure, but we're going to reduce our aid expenditure. And I think this is a wrong message. What we need to do is to increase aid, cooperation and development, and to, of course, face a new reality that we have in the eastern flank of Europe, which is this neo-imperialism of Putin vis-a-vis countries such as Ukraine, but not creating this false or fake trade-off between aid and defense expenditure.
Got it. Mr. Gates, you have just pledged $912 million to the Global Fund, but you're also have been lobbying the U.S. government to restore support for global health programs. How's that going?
Well, the Gates Foundation, if we look back on our 25 years, two of the things we're most proud of and that have clearly had incredible impact is joining others in the creation of Gavi to buy vaccines. And of course, we had that replenishment. We were together there just in June of this year. And now we have a Global Fund replenishment that's taking place, kind of a rolling set of announcements between now and the end of the year. And so today, literally this minute, we're announcing that commitment where we're maintaining the support we provided 3 years ago. We're definitely in dialogue with all the rich countries saying, hey, of all the government money you spend, this is saving lives way more effectively. And, please, for the most generous, provide up to 2% of your budget, but on average, it's about 1% broadly for all of aid, global health being a very important component of it. I do think Americans should be proud that on global health and HIV in particular, the country has been very generous. That goes back to 2001, where in a very bipartisan way, President Bush created both the bilateral program, PEPFAR, and the multilateral program, Global Fund. And heretofore, and I hope, and you could say I'm optimistic, the U.S. has provided a third of all the funding for Global Fund. So they've been by far the biggest donor. The European donors collectively about match the United States. But the United States has shown great leadership on this, and that's an organization that's extremely well run, very low overhead, working on, of course, HIV, malaria, and TB. We have exciting new tools for every one of those diseases. For example, a shot that protects a woman for 6 months, and we'll get the cost of it down over the next couple of years. So it's only $40 for an entire year of protection, which would mean coming in twice. So, everyone who really goes to Africa and sees this work comes away deeply affected. And so we hope to see the U.S. continue to provide leadership here.
So just in your optimism then, is there a specific program or programs that you think might get that fresh injection from the U.S. government as a result of your conversations?
Yeah, so with the U.S. government, usually this is a question for the Congress, where the Congress did provide in the budget that's currently active very generous funding for these programs. Some of that money, a little over half, is not being spent today, although there's some discussion about some of that coming back. So we have to have really two things here. We have to have the Congress pass a budget, which I'm 90% sure will be quite generous on these global health programs, at most a very modest cost. And then we have to convince the administration that actually fulfilling that budget commitment is a great thing for the United States. And I'm also optimistic about that.
Okay. We talked just now about vaccines, so I have to ask you, what is your assessment of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s U.S. vaccine policy and U.S. global leadership on public health?
Well, obviously I have been very involved with vaccines, and the biggest single reason why childhood death went from 10 million down to 5 million is because of the availability of new vaccines. There were really three, one called pentavalent, one called rotavirus for diarrhea, and one called pneumococcus for pneumonia. And those have been made available to all the world's children. We've reduced the cost very dramatically, which is making room for new vaccines for things like RSV, HPV, which is to prevent cervical cancer. It's an incredible story, and we have a great pipeline of vaccines coming. It is tragic that we see this vaccine skepticism, because even though the number of additional deaths in the rich world is likely to be modest, every life should count, and when the poor countries hear that skepticism, it spreads there as well. And there, the chance of a child dying when they get measles is about 30% versus about 1% in rich countries. And so tragically, that skepticism, which is not well-founded, will have caused more deaths outside the country than inside the country. And so, we're carrying the message about the value of vaccines, and of course very serious about the safety testing to make sure that the benefit is overwhelming.
So with RFK Jr., you've agreed to disagree?
On vaccines, yes. I've met with him, and there are other things like this HIV cure work that is what's called a gene editing approach. And so I'm hoping in some areas we can work together, because the U.S. government's research budget has always been a huge supporter of global health innovation.
Prime Minister Sanchez, we are on the eve of the UNGA, and of course, the war in Gaza looms large this week. In a major shift, just in these hours, France, the UK, Australia, and Canada have joined you. You were the first in recognizing a Palestinian state. But you have said that you want to go further. For example, banning Israel from sporting events. What do you hope to achieve this week?
So, I had the chance to meet Prime Minister Netanyahu like 2 months after these horrible and terrible terrorist attacks perpetrated by Hamas, and we condemn it, and we urge Hamas to release the hostages, and this is, was really clear, stated by the Spanish government, and I believe the whole international community. But one thing is the right of a country to defend its country, and another this suffering, this humanitarian tragedy and killing innocent people. And I'm really concerned that the indifference, the lack of empathy is gaining presence in the public debate and in the minds of the international society. And that is why I think it's so important that we raise the voice. We urge for an immediate ceasefire, allow the humanitarian aid enter into Gaza, stop this war, and open a political process that end up with the recognition of the state of Palestine. And I think this is this is a must, no, for the international community. And you know, coming from Europe, coming from a European country, I always share with my peers in the European Council that the same values and principles that we are defending in Ukraine are the same values that we should defend in Palestine, which are international law and international humanitarian law. And I think that when you see after 2 years, the question that the Israeli society should answer is if they are today, or their country is more secure than before the war. I believe they are less secure and more isolated. So I think that the strategy that Prime Minister Netanyahu follows after these terrorist attacks is wrong. Because when you fight against terrorism, there are 3 policies that you have to take in place. Of course, there is the security dimension, how to fight against terrorists. But there are other 2, which is respect for international law in this case, so justice. And third, politics, diplomacy. At the end of the day, we need also to fight against the ideology behind these terrorist organizations. Coming from Spain, that we suffer for many years, for 40 years, terrorism, national terrorism in the Basque Country, and also the jihadist terrorism in Spain, we know quite well how to fight against terrorism. And I think there's a political battle that we need, or at least the Israeli society need to put in place, and also the Palestinians, in order to, let's say, reduce the presence of this ideology, no? But not killing innocent people, and of course not recognizing Palestine statehood, which, by the way, will be the political solution to stabilize the Middle East and to allow the Israeli society and the Palestine society to live in peace and with security. And that is why I think what has happened today in the General Assembly is so important. At the end of the day, you have 2 countries from the Security Council, the UK and France, recognizing the state of Palestine. And second, within the Western society or countries, I believe there's a large majority nowadays of countries that already recognize Palestine statehood. And this is great news for the international community and great news for the Palestinians.
Mr. Gates, in your opening speech, you spoke about this being a miraculous time for innovation, and of course you spoke of AI. Can you tell us what you are most excited about? And also, some say that big tech is spending too much on this technology. What do you think?
Well, it may be that in the end, individual companies' investments will, in retrospect, have been proven too much. But I can say with total conviction, AI is going to change the world in a dramatic way. And many good things, but because of the rate of change, it will challenge us as well. For my work at the Gates Foundation, we have 4 dreams about AI. One is to use AI to discover new health tools much faster than ever before. And that is already happening in a way that makes my job fun and surprises me every single month. The second, which we're just at the very beginning of, is that if you're in a low-income country and you have a cell phone, in your native language, you should be able to talk to a virtual doctor and get advice and understand, okay, when do I need to go to the clinic? If you're a person living with HIV, if you're a pregnant mother. And doing that with very high quality and at a reasonable cost does seem within grasp. And so for the next few years, we'll have pilots and really look at enabling healthcare delivery. The 2 other scenarios, one that not everybody works on, but agriculture after health, which is 70% of our work. Our next biggest program is our work in agriculture. And so the dream is that the poorest farmer in Africa, in their native language, would have better agricultural advice than the richest farmer today in the United States or Spain has about prices and weather and varieties and diseases. They'll be talking through with data about their particular, even fairly small plot of land. And then finally is AI in education. And so, it's the biggest technical revolution in my lifetime. It's built on the digital revolution that I got to be a part of. And the foundation is going to try to make sure that even the poorer countries are benefiting as quickly as the rich countries.
So we have only a couple more minutes, unfortunately, but in your autobiography, you say that you have a recurring dream, including now, that you're at Harvard, your alma mater, and that you don't know where your class is, you don't know which textbook you need, you're wandering around looking for the exam room, and you are sure that you will fail. What do you worry you will fail at now?
Well, there are days when I look at the cause that we're talking about here, helping children survive and thrive, and I think, what are we doing wrong? I mean, isn't this pretty straightforward that we shouldn't cut the resources going to this work? And what am I missing? Why do we do such a bad job? I had a period of time between 2000 and 2008 where I was still full-time at Microsoft, but part-time for the foundation. So I'd go to a big global event like Davos, and on one day I would announce a new piece of software, and the press was there and so excited, and oh my God, this is so great, which it was. And then, the next day I would go to the Gavi press conference. Okay, we're just saving millions of children's lives, and we just, rolling out the rotavirus vaccine, and like nobody would be there. And so it is, this is a world, capitalism responds to the consumers who have money, and the people who suffer from and die from malaria, their voice in the marketplace is so weak that the only way to take this mistake that a pure market system makes and offset it is through a combination of government generosity and philanthropy. And it's possible that aid budgets will keep getting cut over the next 10 years. And we have aging societies. We have a request to get defense spending up to 5% of GDP, which you could, spend all the aid budgets 4 times over just by, if you cannibalize them, trying to get to a number that high. So I don't know that will succeed, but it certainly is the most moral cause that I've ever been involved in, so it really should succeed.
So last question, one for the both of you. Very simple. This evening is about children. So, and I'll give you a second to think about it. What is the one word that each of you would give to the children of today that will inspire them for tomorrow?
A word?
One word.
I would say commitment.
Commitment.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of curiosity.
And you got alliteration as well, commitment and curiosity. On that note, we have to close. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you. Very well done.
I was full of rage. I didn't like people. I cry to change the mood and the energy. But then after crying, I leave it in God's hand and then I get peace. I am a youth advocate about immunization, especially on polio. I don't know, maybe it just comes from my heart. There's a lot of persons that doesn't like me. Every time I post a video, they are there putting some negative comments, telling that I am not funny. Well, I don't care because I am. All I hope for kids is happiness, confidence, health, and love. Peace. That's it.
Young people today are part of the most connected generation in history. With social media, they have an impact from anywhere in the world, like Fee does from Madagascar.
Olivia, I'm here today.
Fee's here.
Hi.
Fee, you look beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Wow. You know, welcome to Goalkeepers.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you here. I was so excited that I got to speak with you because, you know, my dad, when he was a kid, and his two brothers, they all had polio. Oh, really? And they all survived. But my siblings and I and my kids were able to be vaccinated, and that is really thanks to advocates like yourself. So I'm curious. I'm curious, what inspired you to make these videos about vaccines and everything you care about on social media?
Okay, so when my video first started going viral, I was so surprised. I thought only my friends will see them. But then one day, I came home from school and I saw that many people had shared my post. And then I realized I could reach a lot of people. And instead of just making them laugh, I thought, hey, I can actually do some good too. And that's how I became a UNICEF youth advocate. And I wanted to use my voice so that children have a chance not only to survive, but to feel alive. Because happiness shall not be a luxury for children, it shall be a right. And I believe that happiness and health should always go together.
Yes, agreed. But you know, my kids are a few years younger than you, but if you could share one piece of advice with other young people, what would it be?
When I meet kids and other teenagers, I always ask them, what is your dream? What do you want to do when you grow up? Maybe to be a footballer or a dancer or a doctor. For me, I want to be a model in New York City. And whatever your dream is. First, you need to be healthy. But to be healthy, you need to be vaccinated. And vaccines protect you from many diseases so that you can grow up and make your dream come true.
Hey, I just realized, isn't it Monday? Shouldn't you be in school right now?
Yes, I should be in college, but maybe you can tell my teacher it's okay.
Yes, got it.
Because
No
I am here to help make the world happier and healthier, and that means that millions of kids can go to school and can grow up and go to school themselves. And honestly, I am happy that I didn't go to school today.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pete. Thank you.
Thank you.
If anyone in the audience is a modeling agent, I got a girl for you right here. Fee deserves the chance to make her dreams come true, because every child does. And that world is actually closer than we think. We've heard from some remarkable people tonight, seen some groundbreaking new innovations. But none of it will matter unless we can get these innovations to the people who need them the most. Whether that happens is up to us. Earlier I said that inequality doesn't occur naturally. It's a product of the choices that we make. Well, continued progress isn't natural either. It's the result of hard work, and it's even harder right now. But if we want to see change in this world, we have to make it happen ourselves. Every year, Goalkeepers honors 10 people who are doing exactly that, our Goalkeepers champions. This year's champions are physicians and philanthropists, authors and activists, a pediatrician and a policymaker, an economist, and an entomologist. They have different skills and different stories, but they're all making the same choice: to save and protect the lives of children. Together, they prove that progress is not only possible, it is happening as we speak.
The power to dream is the first step towards the power to change things. Okay. If not us, then who? If not you, then who? You can do it. You should do it. You matter.
To inform people of what malaria is, to tell stories that inspire, to tell stories that need to be told. That was the platform that I decided to hold when I was Miss Black USA.
We cannot prevent so many things happening, but we can definitely prevent child death.
The project was donating 100,000, and we educated 500 women to become teachers. That program made me understand our priority was ongoing education.
We need to maintain respect and empathy and connection at a time of evident pressures upon global solidarity.
Research is a very powerful way of changing policies, but research with the people.
In the villages, we are asking, what are your problems? How to solve those problems?
Young people deserve our time and our commitment to ensure a more free and fair world. I'm grateful to have been able to use my platform to make their voices heard.
We have so many young people living with HIV who are content creators, talking about their experiences, and they're living out loud. I wear that courage on their behalf.
You want to translate economic growth into social outcomes, into prosperity for the people.
The end of the story for tuberculosis is the end of tuberculosis. And so that's why we have to fight and scrap and continue to be hopeful, because it's the middle of the story. It's the middle of the story.
Please join me in congratulating our 2025 champions. These champions are choosing to keep pushing forward, and they are not alone. Look around this room. So many of you are doing this work day in and day out. We can all choose where we stop, and it is not here. So let's use our time like the health workers who show up every day no matter the odds. Let's use our resources like the funders and organizations making sure medicine and vaccines reach the farthest places. Let's use our influence like the policymakers who prioritize health and equity. And let's use our voices, like Fee, like the champions, like John Batiste.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for what you do and for who you are. This is very, very special because we've decided to use our power for good. In a time like this, so many things are happening. It's such a complex time, but there's certain things that are fundamental. They're very simple, very direct. That's why I like to say I love you even if I don't know you. I believe that's the way the world should be. I believe that's the kind of world that we need to create right now. And that's the kind of world that we have the power to create. It's not about where you're from or what you do. It's really specifically about the things that we can all agree on so we can get back to some semblance of our humanity and our truth. The sovereignty of this world, we've been given this world as our common home to steward this planet and to steward the children of this planet. And what we do today simply is something that we should do and we have to do. These are the things that we can all agree on. Children shouldn't die of things that we know how to prevent. Children shouldn't die of things that we know how to prevent. Just very simple. So I am grateful for you. We encourage you. We thank you for using your power and your energy and having the intention to come here today and stand for something. And I encourage you to continue, not just from today, but to continue forth from this day until it's done. We need you. We need everybody here. We need everybody to understand our higher nature, our divine nature that's been given to us to create change in the world and to bring the world together for the children. I just need you, yeah, yeah. We just need you, yeah. 1, 2, 3, now. Everybody get up off your seat now. We've done a lot of living, we're working overtime. You got that something special, didn't you know? I just need you. Met you when I was a little country boy, and I never put down my alto saxophone. But jumping down on the boulevard, I couldn't wait to blow my own horn. It ain't wrong for you to play along, playing this song till you die. Hey! Yeah, Joe! We've done a lot of living, we're working overtime.
something special. Didn't you know I just need you? Met you when I was a little nappy boy. Internet put down the porch up inside. Then we fell in love on the boulevard. If you were Jenny, I guess I was far. Now it ain't wrong for you to sing along, singing this song. I just need you. Blow your horn, Marcus. Come on now. Hey. Hey. Yeah. I just need you.